Three men will fight for this treasure of yours, each of them the son of a caliph, but none of them will gain it. Then the black banners will come from the east, and they will in unprecedented manner. Then he mentions something. When you see him, then pledge your allegiance to him, even if you have to crawl over the snow, for that is the Caliph of Allah, the Mahdi. What is this treasure? Who are the three men? Who is the Caliph? Is the end nigh? Who are the people of the black banners? You see, a lot of scholars and muftis, and especially many intelligence agencies, purposely promote this hadith text because it recruits people into different terror groups. They think they'll be in the army of Imam Mahdi, the promised savior of the end times.
Hallelujah. Prove it. First of all, the Prophet ﷺ told us he would be called Muhammad.
Let's dissect this tonight. Many, including myself at one point, thought it's probably the current regime of Saudi Arabia. When the current king dies, then there'll be a dispute. On one side, America will support one prince. On the other, the European Union will support the other prince. And then Russia and China might get in there supporting the third prince in Saudi Arabia. It's amazing how the human mind tries to rationalize hadith texts. You see, it's perfectly natural to think like that if you don't know too much about the history of Arabia. After all, I was brought up in the West. Most of the history I was taught was around the slave trade, the Magna Carta, and the various monarchs that ruled Britain. But in order to understand hadith texts, you ought to learn some Islamic history. There's a lot of propaganda against the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. If you've been following my previous channel, you'd know I'm no fan. When I initially came on my first channel, I had to take videos off after publishing. I was speaking the truth about the Saudi kingdom, and the truth is out today. However, I took them off because I was overwhelmed by supporters of the Saudi regime, Muslims from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Somalia, you name it. They were chanting the name of Saudi Arabia, the land of Tawheed, they said, the land of oneness of God. These were the same people who came from nations where their people were mistreated pretty much, on a level of a slave in the kingdom, but due to their blind belief, they could not see the truth. The hadith, yes, looks amazing, gives us all optimism for something to look forward to. For some, it's a bit of drama to watch on telly, but it's not what it seems. Although it does seem dramatic and quite real considering the current Saudi regime. I'll tell you why it seems that way. The order of succession to the Saudi throne is determined by and within the House of Saud. Every king of Saudi Arabia upon his death has been succeeded by the crown prince, with a new crown prince then being appointed according to seniority among the sons of Ibn Saud. The current ruler of Saudi Arabia is King Salman, who succeeded King Abdullah on his deathbed on the 23rd of January 2015. On the same day, Prince Mukrin became crown prince, only to be replaced 3 months later by Mohammed bin Nayef at the order of King Salman. On the morning of the 21st of June 2017, Mohammed bin Nayef was deposed as crown prince, and King Salman's son Mohammed bin Salman was appointed to the position. By the replacement of the crown princes, anybody would think there's going to be a bust-up between the brothers and the princes will fight. But the hadith text clearly states 3 men will fight, not 3 princes. Princes are called emirs in Arabic. Surely it would have used emirs will be fighting rather than 3 men? Also, you'll notice the text uses caliph. This means successor, not king. In Arabic, caliph is al-khalifa. Surely if it was a king, it would have used the Arabic al-malikun, which means king and not caliph. This is when alarm bells should ring. If it's not ringing yet, then wait for the day when King Salman in Saudi Arabia dies and the crown prince Mohammed bin Salman takes the throne. That day isn't too far. So if it's not the current day of the princes fighting for the throne, then when will this happen? Well, it's already happened. And again, I'm planting the seed. I urge you to research this yourself. We must all use our critical thinking skills and utilize research. Following internet Islam through YouTube videos doesn't help. Listening to mullahs explain the Quran does not help. In this day and age, you need to think for yourself. Use your brain as Allah commands in the Holy Quran. Muhammad ibn Mansur al-Mahdi ruled in 775 to 785. He was the third Abbasid caliph. He succeeded his father al-Mansur and reigned for around 10 years. He proclaimed caliph on his way to Mecca in the year 753 CE and was inaugurated the following year. Al-Mahdi was actually a good man. He created friendly ties between the Shia Muslims and the Sunnis. The Shias had their imamate and the Sunnis obviously had their caliphate. But the name Muhammad ibn al-Mansur al-Mahdi was deliberately chosen because of the popular hadith.
The Prophet said that he would not be practicing, and overnight Allah Azza wa Jalla would turn him into a practicing and pious and God-fearing. Not only that, that he would fill the earth, which means that he would have control, that he would have leadership. He would fill the earth with fairness and justice.
So who are the three men in the hadith? Well, you'll have to dig in further. You'll have to dig into the what we call Fourth Fitna of the Abbasids, also known as the Great Abbasid Civil War. Again, another false hadith was created to give power to another Abbasid caliph. This time, the power struggle was between three brothers. It was a conflict between three brothers. The brothers were Al-Amin, Al-Qasim, and Al-Ma'mun over the succession to the throne of the Abbasid Caliphate. Caliph Al-Harun al-Rashid ruled from 786 to 809, named Al-Amin as the first successor, but also named Al-Ma'mun as the second, with Khorosan, the region of Persia and Afghanistan, granted to him as benefit. But the trouble started when the third son, Al-Qasim, was designated as third successor. Those are the three men. Al-Harun died in 809. Al-Amin succeeded him in Baghdad. Encouraged by the court in Baghdad, Al-Amin began to undermine the autonomous status of Khorosan, and Al-Qasim was quickly sidelined. But the story twists here. Al-Ma'mun was clever. He went door to door and sought support of elites in Khorosan and made moves to assert his own autonomy. He got someone to write the hadith. He was fighting for power along with his other two brothers. Al-Amin wasn't giving up without a good fight. He declared his own son, Musa, as his heir and assembled a large army. In 811, Al-Amin's troops marched into Khorosan, but Al-Ma'mun won because he used the prophecy of Khorosan. He probably wrote it himself, as he drummed up all the support from the religious folks. But Al-Ma'mun did not stop there. Remember, the hadith states the black banners will come from the east and they will kill you in an unprecedented manner. Well, Al-Ma'mun's army then invaded Iraq and besieged Baghdad itself. The city fell after a year. Al-Amin was executed and Al-Ma'mun became caliph of the Abbasid Empire. It's time to ponder. Our history is a bloodbath, and unfortunately today it continues. People like Shamima Begum are recruited by these prophecies that were written by man and said as gospel by mullahs and non-working scholars of the Islamic family. These scholars say black flags will rise as per prophecy from Khorosan. I don't think so. Satan is playing a big game here. Look at them. They all got their black flags. You have to know, Abbasid's national colour was also black. Hence, their flag was also black. And the black banner's propaganda was also inserted into the hadith texts. In closing, I'd like to say there will be an Imam Mahdi. I believe a Redeemer will come. I believe someone will come to end injustice, but by focusing on false texts, we're not doing ourselves any favors and we're not getting anywhere. Thank you for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic of Foreign Policy Hawk. Have a lovely night.